You'd be writing these down. So who had the most power in Europe during the feudal period? The Catholic Church. Take those notes down. Now, we also learned in the last unit that the Pope is head of the Catholic Church. The Pope is the representative or the vicar of whose?
Christ.
So he is the representation, Jakinia, of Jesus on earth, right? So because he's claiming that religious right, who in feudal society does he have power over?
Everybody.
Everybody. So who are some of the people? Some of the kings.
Nobles.
Nobles. So he had power over them. So what we're going to be studying today, and this is where Kevin very cutely got it wrong, we are not studying Martin Luther King Jr. today.
You're going to say it on camera.
We're studying Martin Luther today. Hmm? Martin Luther.
Is she dead serious?
Yes. Martin Luther is not Martin Luther King Jr.'s daddy, okay? They live nearly hundreds of years apart, okay? Yes, Martin Luther King is named after Martin Luther, right? But they are not related in any way.
Okay.
Based off our readings, who is Martin Luther? Do we know anything yet?
Yes.
Chuck, from your reading to do now, who's Martin Luther?
He's a reverend.
He is a reverend or someone in the church. Wilbur, did you pick up anything else about Martin Luther? All right. Martin Luther was a Catholic pastor and an academic.
So he's a pastor or a pope?
He's a pastor,
Okay.
essentially. And an academic. This is a man who spends his life studying God, right? Yeah, like a professor, okay? So we are all taking notes, which is very, very good. So before we move on to the next part, quick check for understanding. Raise your hand if you believe that kings have more power than the Pope. Raise your hand if you believe that in this feudal society, kings have more power than the Pope.
About now?
No, during feudal society, raise your hand if you believe kings have more power than the Pope. Raise your hand if you believe the Pope had more power than kings. Alright, so Cambridge, your hand's not up. You understand the question, my dear. Alright, so who had more power in feudal society, the Pope or the king? I can't hear you. The who? Pope, alright. So now, discuss with a teammate, think, pair, share. Turn to a teammate, look in their eyes. I should see everyone pairing with someone. Cambridge, you can talk across the room to Tavian, okay? Take 10 seconds. Where did the Pope say his power came from? 10 seconds. Where did the Pope say his power came from? Alright, so let's hear from Cody. Cody, where did the Pope claim his power came from? I can't hear you, sir. He's claiming his power came from Jesus Christ. Finally, hands up. Who is the author of the source we're looking at today, 95 Theses?
Who is that?
Who is the author of the speaker? He's who, Matt? Martin Luther. And he's the father, really, of Martin Luther King Jr.
No, sir.
He is not. Okay, Kevin? So team, our work for today is on the board. There's going to be 5 distinct parts to it that I would like to analyze with you. What's our work for today? What is the first thing that we see that we have to do? We're going to hear from 2 people, and then we need to hear from Ms. Ote, Ms. Davenport Richards.
First, we're going to pick a quote
Quote from where?
from the 95 Theses.
All right, as Bailey goes through, as you go through the steps, I would like you to write down those steps, okay, team? So step 1 is what, Jalon?
Step 1 is to pick a quote
Pick a quote, but be more specific.
from the 95 choices of the
No, not 95 choices.
You got 95 quotes, so you
95
got 95 choices.
95 Theses text.
What's the title? All right, what did she say? What is the what is the? All right, 95 Theses. All right, 2 more people, and then we're gonna go to Ms. Ote. What's the next step?
This is a jump in.
Yeah, it's a jump-in conversation.
You then interpret what the quote is saying. You
So now, as we interpret the quote, right, what are you supposed to be doing there? What's our criteria for interpretations as we've gone over before?
What's the subject?
Don't use the same
It's
words.
cool. What?
And they like don't use the same words now.
Subject,
Paraphrase.
Paraphrase, using our own words. That's those are the things we want to hear. So when we say interpret the shower, what do we mean, my dear?
Paraphrase.
Paraphrase. All right. Finish writing down those notes. I want to make sure we're in the same place. Take a look at the quote from the 95 Thesis and the interpretation right here.
The subjects are the same.
The subjects are the same, but hold on. I would like for you to put your thumbs up in the air if you feel the interpretation of that quote is accurate. If you do not feel the interpretation of that quote is accurate, keep your hands down.
Can they see?
Then you had, I mean,
Can you see the quote, Bailey?
What is remit?
What does remits mean?
You mean like clean up with guilt? Like he can't well not remit like clean.
Like,
I think that's a good synonym. He can't clean any guilt, right? He can't get rid of any guilt. So we have some thumbs starting to go up. The Chara feels the interpretation is accurate. Javon is in the middle, right? Anyone else? I'll have a lot of hands down. Thumbs up if you feel that interpretation is accurate. Keep your hands down if you do not feel it's accurate.
did you say clean or clean?
clean.
Yeah.
CLENA.
Wow.
Lean.
Baby, she's a bit
Team, let's not be mean with that, alright, Miss Bowie? Team, I still don't have a lot of thumbs up, so what this is telling me is that we don't understand the quote. Thumbs up if you feel that this interpretation is accurate to the quote. Thumbs down if it's not.
I don't know upstairs.
Alright, well, so you're not sure. Cody, are you sure, sir? And Kenya, alright. So, Bailey,
Yes.
we'll stick on you for a little bit to make sure that you have it, right? Read the quote for us on the board.
The Pope cannot remit any guilt except by declaring and showing that it has been remitted by God.
So if Bailey doesn't understand the quote, there might be an issue of what, team? Are there any words that you don't know?
Why? No, not anymore.
Alright, so now read the interpretation for us, my dear.
The Pope must prove that God intended for someone to be released from sin before he declares so himself.
So now, is the subject transferring over from the quote to the assertion?
Yes.
So we know that we do have that alignment there, alright? So now, Kevin said that remit is like another word for clean or get rid of, right?
Yes.
Is that idea transferring over to the interpretation?
I guess, yeah.
What words do you see that show is transferring over to the interpretation?
It's intended for someone to be released.
Released from sin, right? So we have that idea of remitting sin flowing over here, right? But before the Pope can remit someone from sin, right, it has to be remitted by who, Bailey?
Oh, my God.
Do we see that idea coming in the interpretation?
Yes.
Can you read?
What was the question?
Can you read the part of the interpretation that shows that God has to remit the sin before the Pope can?
The Pope must prove that God intended for... You understand?
Alright, so I'll put it in brackets just to go emphasize that. So Bailey, does this interpretation match this quote?
Yes.
Can you explain why, my dear?
Because in a quote it says, the Pope cannot remit any guilt except by declaring and showing that it's been remitted by God, meaning that he can't clean any guilt or sins and says, okay, unless he knows that God wants him to. And it's saying the same thing.
Give her a hand. Come on, Nicholas, give her a hand. A hand. A hand. Alright, so now, Nicholas, please read the third quote. Papal infallibility and the Roman Catholic Church quote.
According to the Catholic faith, Jesus of Nazareth founded the church to administer the sacraments, rituals that contain the mystery of grace and the promise of salvation. Salvation comes only through the church. Individuals cannot find salvation outside the institution.
what I'd like everyone to do right now is take 1 minute. Do we see the interpretation next to that part? Step 4, right? What's step 3 and step 4? The third thing we need to do is then choose a what team?
Another quote.
And where should that quote come from?
It should come from Popple. No, Popple.
Popple? Where should it come from?
Popple.
Alright, so this is a tough word, so word walk.
Infallibility.
Word walk.
Infallibility.
Alright, so team, say it with me 3 times. Infallibility. 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 Alright, so we choose a quote from there, and what's the 4th step, team?
Paraphrase it, put your own words.
So this is what I'd like everyone to do right now. Please take 30 seconds to write down your class notes. Do you feel that this interpretation matches that third quote? So again, do you feel that this interpretation matches this quote? Hold on, silent for 30 seconds. I just want everyone reading and writing. We need a little bit more time to write down our response, team.
Yes.
So I'll add another 20 seconds, but we should see everyone writing. Does that interpretation match the third quote? Six, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's hear it from Ms. Bowie. Let's hear it from Wilburn. Do you feel that interpretation? Read what you wrote. Do you feel that interpretation matches the quote?
I say yes, because it consists of the same subject as the quote, and 2, the part that say Christ can only be saved through the practice of the Catholic Church in the Bible is the mystery of the grace and the promise of salvation comes only through the church. So yeah, them parts of it.
Wilburn?
I said, this, made the same connection, but I think this one made, he made connection about the Bible.
Alright, give him a hand, team. Give him a hand. Cody, a hand, please. Thank you, kind sir. So now the final step. The ultimate goal, based on our objective team, was to make a clarified and defensible assertion. So again, last step, what are we leaving with, team?
Text analysis.
Text and text analysis, but the form of that analysis is an assertion, right?
Yeah.
Assertion should always be what?
8 to 20.
Clarify the scope.
One sentence. What?
A paragraph should be 8 to 12 sentences, Javon. An assertion should always be what, sir?
One sentence.
1 sentence. But it should also be what, Javon?
Clarify the scope.
Clarify the scope.
And defensible, right? So now the question that we're answering, you want to write this down. How did Martin Luther's words challenge the Catholic Church? How did Martin Luther's words challenge the Catholic Church? Yeah, let's write that down. Once more, the question that your assertion is answering is how did Martin Luther's words challenge the Catholic Church?
Repeat. What do you mean by that?
Kevin? Not yet. You can have some chance to talk and discuss in class. You want me to repeat that, Dylan?
What you say?
You want me to repeat that, Jakinia? How did Martin Luther's words challenge the Catholic Church? And you're asking what we mean by challenge, right?
Yeah, like I don't. Okay.
What does it mean to challenge someone?
Challenge.
To go
I'll go on to the bed,
Yeah. Go ahead.
To go again, so now, who's the head of feudal society? Is it the king or the pope?
The Pope.
So the pope's calling the shots, right?
Yeah.
So Martin Luther's words,